My dad died before he could keep a promise. And now, my sisters think I'm greedy for trying to make it right. It all started with one question, a question I never thought would blow up my family. But when I asked for what I was promised, nothing more, nothing less, I was told I was ridiculous, selfish, entitled. One sister stormed out, the other wouldn't even look at me, and the worst part, I can't even tell if they're wrong. My name's Emily. I'm 30 years old, and a few weeks ago, I asked my sisters for something that cracked open a wound none of us were ready to look at. When we were younger, my dad had a tradition. He helped each of us out when we hit certain milestones. My older sister, Sophie, got a car and driving lessons when she turned 17. That was back when our family still had a little breathing room financially, before things went south. By the time I turned 17, the money just wasn't there. My parents were going through financial difficulties. Stress piled on top of stress. I didn't complain. I didn't ask. I understood. I figured I'd learn to drive later, when the timing was better. Life kept moving. I went off to college, then moved abroad for a while. Eventually, I came back to the UK and settled in a big city. Public transportation worked just fine. I didn't need a car? Not yet. But the promise? It never disappeared. When I was 27, last year, my younger sister Lily decided she wanted to learn to drive. She was struggling a bit, trying to piece together enough to afford lessons in a used car. Dad stepped in, paid for her lessons, helped her buy the car. When I heard, I didn't feel jealous. I felt hope. That day, I had a conversation with my dad I will never forget. He told me, "When you decide to get your license, I'll help you too. Just like I helped your sisters." It felt like closure, a way to balance out what I hadn't received at 17. It wasn't about the money. It was about being seen, about being equal. I hadn't started my lessons yet, not because I didn't want to, but because life, once again, got in the way. I was laid off at the end of last year, still job hunting, still trying to keep my head above water, but I was planning to start learning this spring. Then everything changed. My dad died. It was sudden, unexpected. One of those moments that splits your life into a before and after. I couldn't even process it at first. He was just gone. The world kept moving, and I was stuck in this hollow gray space. I didn't think about cars or driving. I thought about the last time we spoke. I thought about how I didn't get to say goodbye. And then the estate was brought up. Each of us, me, Sophie, and Lily, would receive a share. We were sitting around the kitchen table with our mother when the topic of the will came up. And I asked if we could honor Dad's promise that he had told me just last year I'd receive help to buy a car and cover my lessons. Just like he did for Lily. Just like he did for Sophie years ago. I didn't ask for more. I asked for the same. My mother, to her credit, told me to speak to my sisters about it. That she remembered the promise. But the money from the estate needed to be handled fairly. I wasn't asking her to go against the will. I just wanted my sisters to agree that this money, the same amount they had each received, could come out before the rest was divided. But the reaction I got was nuclear. Sophie's laugh was bitter. She said I was being ridiculous, that she learned to drive at 17, 13 years ago, that I had all the same opportunities and just didn't bother, that I missed my chance. Lily was a little quieter, but firm. She said it wasn't their fault that Dad died before I decided to start. that promises don't mean anything when they're not in writing, that I had no claim. I tried to explain that I wasn't asking for anything unreasonable, that the only reason I didn't get help at 17 was because our family couldn't afford it, that I'd never asked for anything before, that I was just trying to hold on to one thing he said he'd do, just one. But Sophie stood up, pushed in her chair, and called me names I won't repeat. She walked out. Lily followed. And now, we haven't spoken since. I keep replaying the conversation in my mind, over and over, wondering if I could have said it differently, wondering if I should have just let it go. I know the estate is legally bound by the will. I know there's no clause written in about me getting that money. But I also know that my father was a man of his word. And I know he said it. I know he meant it. This wasn't some offhand comment when I was a teenager. He told me last year that when I decided to learn to drive, he'd help me, just like he helped them. And now I feel like I'm being told that promise died with him. It's not about the money. It's about fairness. It's about love. It's about knowing that I mattered just as much as they did. That I wasn't the forgotten middle child. That I wasn't the one who got left behind because the timing wasn't perfect. I didn't expect this to divide us, but it has. Now every time I look at the estate paperwork, I feel sick. I feel like I'm stealing from a ghost. Like I'm clinging to something no one else thinks matters. Like I'm asking too much by asking for what I was promised. Maybe they're right. Maybe I should have learned to drive earlier. Maybe I should have asked Dad to put it in writing. Maybe this is all just grief, twisting itself into logic. But I keep thinking, if Lily had waited one more year to start driving, if Dad had passed a few months earlier, would she be in my position? Would she have been told, "Too bad, you missed your chance"? And would I have let that happen to her? So now I'm left with this question, one that's keeping me up at night. Am I the asshole? Here's the thing. It's easy to look at this story and judge. To say she's 30, get over it, pay for your own car. The will is the will. Case closed. But inheritance isn't just about money. It's about meaning, about memory, about the emotional ledger we keep with the people who raised us. It's about promises, fairness, the ache of being the one child who didn't get what everyone else did. We talk so much about legality, but not enough about love. Could the sisters have honored the promise? Sure. Would it have cost them a little from their share? Probably. Would it have restored a sense of equality and peace to a grieving sister? Absolutely. But grief changes people. And money, when mixed with loss, becomes something sharp, something that cuts deep and leaves scars. Maybe there's no perfect answer here. Maybe they're all hurting, and this is how the pain shows up. But maybe, just maybe, we should ask ourselves, what would love have done? Would you have honored the promise? Let us know in the comments. And if you've ever felt like the forgotten sibling or lost someone before they could keep a promise, you're not alone. This is AITA Stories. We'll see you next time.